going on, guys? It's Dan here from Digital Pinnacle, and I'm back with another instalment of Digital Desires, the series where we talk about what things we would like to see in upcoming games or movies. This episode, we have had a change of plans. Rather than talking about Uncharted 4 as originally planned, I will be talking about the upcoming first-person stealth action game, Dishonored 2. Like every episode, we have included a suggestion from one of our brilliant viewers in this video, so make sure you stay until the end to see what that is. My first desire for Dishonored 2 is to see a longer campaign. I have to say that I have personally played Dishonored a hell of a lot, especially for a game that only has 10 missions and 3 endings before you have bought any of the DLC. The reason I have played it a lot is mainly that I want to see all the available endings. I think that having a longer campaign overall and more potential endings will be a fantastic improvement for Dishonored 2. Specifically, I would like to see an increase in the number of main storyline missions. In the first Dishonored game, there were a number of open world segments in between each mission, which were good fun, but any more of them would just feel like unnecessary filler. Hopefully, Dishonored 2 will have around 15 main storyline missions, while retaining the open world areas in between missions. This would make me want to play the game more, and make me feel like the $60 or more price tag is worth the purchase. My next desire for Dishonored 2 is to see a game set in an entirely new location. The first Dishonored game was set in the city of Dunwall, a bleak, plague-infested steampunk version of Victorian-era London. It was a fantastic location and made a perfect setting for the game. A great feature was how the location developed depending on your actions in the game, with plague-infected bodies beginning to pile up and rat hordes increasing in size and density depending on how many characters you murdered. In Dishonored 2, I would love to see the game set in an entirely different city. Dunwall was a perfect location for the first game, but it feels like we have seen enough of that city, and now it is time to move on. Based on the announcement trailer that was released at E3 2015, we can guess that this is a likely possibility, with a new city being featured in the trailer. Another thing that can be seen in this trailer is some graffiti on the walls, where it says "Death to the Duke." This has led me to believe that at least a portion of the game will be set in the city of Serkonos, another city included in the Coldwind Empire, which is noted for having a duke even though it is officially led by the Emperor or Empress. My third wish for Dishonored 2 is to see more interesting assassinations. The original Dishonored game featured 18 potential assassinations, split over the 10 main missions. The jewel of these, in the opinion of most of the fans, was the assassination that was featured in the mission Lady Boyle's Last Party. In this mission, after you infiltrated a grand masquerade party, you were presented with 3 potential targets, all of which had identical costumes except for the colour. It was then up to you to use the clues provided throughout the mission to find out which of these targets was the correct one. Of course, you could kill them all and leave no risks. What was great about this mission was that each time you played it, any of the 3 targets could be the intended target for you to assassinate, meaning that if you decided to replay the mission, you could not rely on the tactics you used last time you played this mission. This mission was fantastic because it left the player to their own devices to figure out who the target was. I would love to see more missions like this in Dishonored 2, and an increase in difficulty for a few of them, providing the players with a bigger challenge. My penultimate desire is to see more non-lethal weapons and abilities. As mentioned earlier, I have played Dishonored a lot, and this included playing through the entire game without being detected or killing anyone. This was a fantastic challenge, but at times I did find myself feeling bored. I believe the reason for this was the lack of abilities and weapons that could be used if you were aiming to complete the game in this way. Pretty much none of the weapons in your inventory, such as your dagger, guns, grenades, or even the hacking devices were helpful, because they all resulted in the death of the guards, and if they didn't result in death, they would almost certainly result in you being caught by the guards. The abilities in the game weren't much better for this either, with the only 2 useful ones being Blink and Stop Time, which were both used to traverse the level without being detected. In Dishonored 2, I would love to see more weapons and abilities that have been designed for players who don't want to kill. I hope they are interesting enough to keep me entertained, but also don't make that kind of playthrough too easy, because I did love the challenge presented to me in the original game when trying to get through the game without killing anyone. My final wish for Dishonored 2 is to see more morally grey choices. By this, I mean I would like to see more decisions put into the game where the morality of them is not really good nor bad. The player needs to be presented with a set of options and then left to weigh up the consequences of them all before making a decision. There should then be visible consequences that can be seen later in the game, similar to the way that the plague grew in the previous game. I would like to see all players have to think about their actions, but not have a clear good or evil path, but just be left with the consequences of the choices they made. The closest game I can compare this wish to is The Witcher 3. In that game, you are often provided with morally grey choices, where neither answer is correct, but you are forced to choose. Both outcomes often result in the death of multiple people. Having choices such as this within the game will add a hell of a lot of replayability to the game and hopefully increase the number of possible endings. This episode, we have had multiple suggestions, all with similar ideas, so rather than spending time picking between them, I've decided to feature them all. These suggestions come from Jake the Giant Slayer, Gamer's Dungeon, and our old friend who featured back in episode 1, Going All Gamer. Among their comments, they suggested that Dishonored 2 should feature more open world elements, if not an entirely open world. I believe this stems from how fun the sections in between each mission were, where you could explore the Hound's Pit's pub and talk to characters who live there. On top of that, we saw a suggestion of having a talking protagonist. We already know that Emily Caldwin is going to feature as the protagonist this time around, and we have of course heard her speak in the past, so it would be great to have a fully voiced character to add some extra depth to the world and the dialogue you hear throughout the game. Great suggestions all around, thanks very much. Be sure to check out these guys' channels and or social media by clicking on the links in the description box. So that was all the things we would love to see in Dishonored 2. Thanks for watching everyone. Be sure to let us know what things you would like to see in Dishonored 2 in the comments box below. Next episode we will be talking about an Xbox exclusive Crackdown 3. If you have any suggestions that you want to be featured in that video, let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel for more high quality gaming videos uploaded weekly.